Day 2 started early and it was expected to be another scorcher, although not as bad as Friday's 34 degrees. Talking figures, 63 cars started the rally, but after day 1, there were only 52 survivors.
Paulo, you've got a 30-second lead in the Formula 2 category. You must be thinking about your first win there.
That would definitely be nice. 30 seconds, not much of a gap, but I think we'll try and work to extend that. But I do have an eye on a podium finish. I would really like to give the Sassel Ford Escort a podium finish and an F2 win. So we'll see how it goes today.
Day 2's geographical layout of the rally route, starting just outside Durbanville, up the west coast to Riebeek West, a lunch stop in Mariatsburg, and then on to the peaceful village of Malmesbury, and then finally back to Killarney Racetrack. The early stages were reruns of those that were used the previous evening, and Damso had to beat the Daewoo drivers by 10 seconds to regain the lead. With Supervan first on the road, Damso was able to do the chasing, but it seemed that Van had everything under control, thank you very much. He looked smooth and relaxed. Then Keenan Hodgson tackled the stage and turned on the heat to emerge with a 12-second advantage over the elder statesman of rallying. But there was talk of Keen having picked up a 30-second penalty for clocking out of the holding area or park for May 3 minutes late. Now it was Toyota's turn, and Damso promptly went 4 seconds quicker than Keen. Rough or not, he makes it look so easy, doesn't he? Piazza Musa also turned up the wick and recorded the same time as Van der Merwe. Our in-car camera gives an idea of how much work is done in a top-line rally driver's office. More important, though, was that he extended his Formula 2 lead over Van der Walt by a further 17 seconds, and this was with a broken rear anti-roll bar. Not exactly an early morning Sunday drive, is it? Van der Walt didn't have a smooth run either. Broken bolts in the Golf's rear suspension meant rear wheel steering, and that cost him a lot of extra time. Mechanical woes were also in store for Habich and Judd. They broke a side shaft, had a spin, and lost 3 minutes while spectators push-started them after the starter motor decided to pack it in. Short-lived joy for Daewoo at the top of the board, as Enzo explains.
Enzo, you've established yourself as the clear leader now.
We had a problem with the engine harness in the service area this morning, and changed the harness, and then the car wouldn't go. It was running on 2 cylinders, so we had to change it back. That cost us lateness. So we've taken penalty on lateness, but we just took the stage by 12 seconds. So the car seems to be all right now, but we have to make up the lateness, and that'll probably take us all day.
Jean-Pierre Damso has the right genes to make it in rallying and was giving a good account of himself by leading the S18 class comfortably in his Team Total Toyota Conquest. For a change, Bronton Olivier had a good run and took 2 seconds off the class-leading Ford Escort. Recent rains had left the road soft in places, and it was a bumpy ride at the sharp end of a rally. Helgen Fecken was beginning to catch JP Damso with some committed driving. A class win, after all, was at stake. Ball refused to be drawn into the frantic pace out front and was quite happy to adopt a wait-and-see strategy. Often this pays off handsomely. Just ask Van der Walt. With a crankshaft seal leaking oil onto his clutch, Grobler had little hope of Class S18 honours. Also going well were locals Diffie Marie and Dani Duval in the 1600cc Uno, which was leading Class S19. Rally cars are built to survive harsh treatment, but there are always problems sooner or later.
JP, you've had a good run, but you seem to have problems.
Yeah, this morning in the first stage we started getting an oil leak, and now it's just gotten worse, so we have to repair it now. Else we can damage the engine.
And you got a misfire as well?
Yeah, it's getting worse as well, so things are going wrong today.
The peace and tranquility of man and beast in the Riebeek West area was shattered. So was the confidence of Terry Brunt, because when things go wrong for him, they really go wrong. On the longest special stage of the event, stage 9, the luckless golf driver picked up 2 punctures. This after lending his spare to Jannie Habech. No such problems for Goosen and de Jong as their ultra-reliable and well-sorted golf completes another special stage without fuss or drama. The event had been tough on the Group N cars, and Sanders and Hooper were the only championship contenders left in the competition. As the rally finally settled into a pattern, Coleman began moving up the order and was soon challenging for a top 3 place in S18. Likewise, Lowe and Barnard were also enjoying a trouble-free run and had moved into the important top 15. As many Class S19 cars as in the old days, and the local crew of Chris Tritter and Rikke Smit had moved into 3rd place in the class. Rallying in the Western Cape boasts a strong following, and Kobus Eerders and Derek Jacobs are amongst the most enthusiastic in their neatly turned out Toyota Conquest. Although the big Skyline is forced to run outside of the top 20, it would have been knocking on the door of a top 10 place, and its guttural roar is music to spectators' ears. After 2 punctures on the previous stage, Brunt's service crew quickly went to work on a job they knew fairly well by now.
Jerry, you got 2 punctures. Why?
Steve, I honestly can't tell you. I don't know how we got them. It was a little bit rough here and there, but I started feeling that we were losing power. Obviously, the front was going flat, and then eventually the both left side wheels went flat. We must have clipped something somewhere, but exactly where I can't tell you.
Water splashes are great vantage points for spectators. For drivers, though, they're a nightmare. Wet electrics have cost many a driver a win or a good placing. Panamarva adopted a cautious approach and lost a lot of time in the process. Keane, on the other hand, threw caution to the wind and the water and splashed through 4 or 5 seconds quicker. He got away with this one. No hint of any misfire in this motor. Habech's golf was carrying over 100 kilograms of ballast to meet the Class S16 regulations, and as a result, the shocks were taking a pounding and he was losing time. Still, he adopted the conservative approach and continued on his merry and safe way. Tony Ball might be vertically challenged, but he's not short of the bits that make men go fast. 10 out of 10, and he gets that big splash award, even though the golf's rear bumper is all but ripped off. The Formula 2 class leaders had other reasons for losing time.
Paolo, that was a costly stage.
Yeah, unfortunately we broke a drive shaft, which cost us about 1:20, but I think we're still maintaining 4th and the class lead. So if we can maintain the pace, I'm sure we can make it to the top.
Special Stage 12 was a rerun of the popular Farmyard, and Damso asserted his control on the event by taking the fastest time again. Keane was next best, while the Sassel Ford set the pace in Formula 2 after the delay on the previous stage. Class S18 was a tangy affair and was turning into a Mostert benefit as his rivals ran into all sorts of trouble. After taking the class lead, Fecken and Lefkovich all but destroyed their Toyota Conquest on number 11, which left Mostert with a big lead. Goosen and de Jong were quickest of the 1600cc S19 cars here and had built up a useful class lead during the morning. In Group N, Alan Worms and Ashley Girick had hauled their lesson engineering Opel Corsa into second place by dint of consistent driving. At Mariatsburg, the venue for lunch, we caught up with Berto Mostert, Class S18 leader.
Berto, despite all your problems earlier, you're leading your class.
Yes, I think it's a just award for all we went through this week, for blowing the engine and then having all the trouble and only fixing it on Thursday evening. But it's a pity Hurricane went out. It's quite a tricky stage, that. But aside from the hot and the muck, it's enjoyable, the driving this car. With a little bit of less power, but still it's enjoyable. It's very nice.
That's what rallying is all about. Keane dominated stage 14, taking 18 seconds off the rally leaders Damso and Bonafide, and threw off Van der Merwe, who he led by almost 30 seconds. A change of shocks had transformed the handling of Habigskov, and he was in full flight as he scorched through to record the next best time. With a maiden victory in their sights, Piazza Musso and Haddon weren't about to take any chances, but had a clean run to emerge as fastest of the F2 contenders, which was now minus Brunt, whose motor overheated before lunch. More bad luck. Their only opposition left was Van der Walt and Harding, who looked set to keep up their 100% finishing record this season. They were holding a steady 6th place in the overall standings and had settled for 2nd in class. Fastest of the depleted S18 class was JP Damso, still with a sick car but with lots of vocal support. He was not about to give it up. Morster too was spurred on by the local encouragement and recorded the fastest time for the class. Like Piazza Musso, he also had a maiden class win in his sights. With 2 short stages left, Keane was well ahead of his teammate. Now it was time for team manager Johan Evertsen to issue team orders. Keane would keep the pressure on Damso and incur a lateness penalty at the final control to allow championship leader Van der Merwe to get 2nd place. The stage through Malmesbury Town Centre has always been popular and provides the inhabitants with their only opportunity of seeing motorsport up close. There was a last-minute scare for Keane before the final special stage, which was back at Killarney. Bushes in the rear suspension had worked loose. With Keane's handling not quite up to scratch, Van der Merwe won the stage and, as expected, took 2nd place after Keane clocked into a control late enough to pick up 30 seconds of lateness. Damso and Bonafide had the rally in the bag and took a well-deserved win to keep them in the championship hunt. Piazza Musso and Haddon's hard work paid off as they took their first win in the Formula 2 category with 4th place. A great drive from Cully van der Merwe and Charles Rieler saw them bring the skyline home in 7th and to claim the S20 win too. Sanders lost the Group N win due to technical infringements, and the win thus went to the youthful Opel crew of Worms and Jericho. Volkswagen walked off with the manufacturer's prize, and they now lead Toyota by 13 points, while Daewoo lag behind in 3rd, but lead the driver's title race. Finally, it was well-deserved bubbly for Damso and Bonafide.